Hey everybody, Tom Barnes at Soundscape Studios talking to Chicago R&B artist Matt B, who's had huge international success, and he's on his way to breaking it big here in the States. We're going to get a little behind the scenes look at a recording session, talk to him about his career and growing up on Chicago's South Side now for the Chicago scene. So we're heading in. All right, so I've made my way inside Soundscape Studios. I'm here with recording artist Matt B. How you doing, sir?
I am doing excellent.
So thank you for letting me kind of crash the party a little bit here. You are in the midst of recording something, and you also are in the midst of just getting your music out there for the people of Chicago and the States, because you've done the hard part. You've done the overseas part. Now it's well, I shouldn't say easy, but now it's home cooking time, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I'm super excited about it, and I just want to say thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure. So just tell people about your career, how you got started, and how you became like this sensation in Japan, in China. You've charted all internationally, and now it's time to do it back here in Chicago and the States.
Well, I started in a group with my brothers. The name of the group is called Trend. We did our thing for a little while, and then from there, they kind of branched off and did their own thing. They weren't really interested in the music as much as I was. Mm-hmm. So I went solo around 2013, 2014-ish is when things really started to pick up for me. I ended up signing a deal out in Japan, just from just a label just inboxing me, hitting me up on YouTube, like, hey, you want to know what? We really like these songs.
Because
right
you
here.
put them out there on YouTube, right?
Oh, yeah.
You just uploaded them. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they sat for a little while. But I uploaded them, they sat for a little while, and then from there, just a label randomly hit me up, and they were like, hey, we really like these particular records. We would love to make this your album. And for me, I was like, I was kind of on the fence.
What is that? I mean, that's got to be a little not what you thought it would go, right? Like, I mean, having a company that's not even in the States like your music, were you a little apprehensive at first, or
Oh yeah. So I was Googling like crazy, like, oh my goodness, like I wanted to make sure that it was a reputable label. The name of the label was called Starbase. So after doing a little bit of research and after praying about it, I was like, you want to know what? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I took the opportunity, and like the rest is history. I had 2 #1 albums out in Japan for R&B on iTunes. I was distributed in over 1,400 stores across Japan. This is when they were still doing the physical CDs
Sure.
and all the rest of that stuff. And then from there, it kind of bled over into China. And I found out just recently that I had over 158 million streams on just one song in China.
What does that do for you? I mean, that's incredible. I mean, there are bands that would never get that in a million years if they tried, and you found out like almost seems like by accident. I mean, I know it's in China, and I know we're in a pandemic and things are locked down, but what is that like when you think about writing that song, not knowing that it's been listened to that many times? What does that do for you?
It was humbling. It was mind-blowing, because it's like, how do you even wrap your mind around something like that you're impacting so many different people around the world, people who may not even speak English, but just they feel the vibrations of the music, and they love it. So I was reading some of the comments, kind of translating them and stuff, and people were saying things like, oh, this is my wedding song, etc., etc. And I was like, wow, like I'm so proud that I even have an opportunity like that, or I could even say that something like that happened to me.
Yeah, I would say that's a huge leap forward from your roots here in Chicago. I mean, you were born and raised Southside Chicago. Talk about that real quick.
So I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. Initially, I grew up in the Inglewood area, and then from there, we ended up moving to like 110th over there by Halstead, so the Wild Hunnets. So, I mean, it wasn't easy, definitely, really rough upbringing, but music was always my rock, and my foundation is something that is really big just in my family in general. With my grandmother, she used to travel all around the U.S. back in the day when the Green Book was around for black people. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was just a movie about that recently. I think it was called The Green Book, that talked exactly about what you're speaking
Yep,
about.
exactly. So my grandmother experienced it firsthand, and she was traveling with Thomas A. Dorsey, which is he is the father of gospel music. So I feel like I am connected to her in that way, and just connected to music, and always have been. So it really kept me grounded.
And that's how you settled in your R&B roots, and that's what you're doing now, and you've had success with the Lights Parade here right on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, which is kind of like your homecoming, right?
Yeah, right before the pandemic.
Of course. Right when things are starting to roll for you, then that happened. But that's still a big deal for you. Yeah.
Well, it was an amazing experience. I mean, I was on the Walgreens float. Millions of people show up to that parade every year. And
I think it's like the third largest in the country every year,
which is amazing. So for me, it was a humbling experience once again, just to see so many people that were excited about me and excited about my music and just recognize me. And then, you don't really realize how big of an impact you have, whether it be in the world or in your city, especially with things being online so much, not even prior to the pandemic. It's like, we're all about social media. Our heads are always down in our phones. So it was an amazing feeling to have people like, hey, Matt B, and all of that stuff. And it was like, wow, my impact not only across the world, but in my city is just so strong. And, it's not something that I take lightly. It's something that I know is a big responsibility and something that I want to just continue to grow.
And you did a couple of tours in the States with the So Far that company that basically what you do is you sign up for, you want to see live music, and then you find this venue, and it's almost a surprise at the artist, but you did like a 16 date run with them, right?
Yep, all across the country, all across the U.S. So that was like my first really big tour, like going from city to city to city, and I even hit some spots in Canada. So that to me was just like super, super impactful. It gave me an opportunity to see how my music translates across the U.S. and how people react, because I am a strong believer in vibes, and I feel like there are different vibes in different cities.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
When I was traveling, I realized that even more, and it was like a perfect segue to for the preparation of the release of my debut U.S. album, Eden.
And that is when?
That is out right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is produced.
Time to plug it, man.
Oh yeah, that is out right now, and it is produced by some very, very accomplished producers: Brian Michael Cox, Tricky Stewart. They're R&B royalty, as well as AP, the AP Factor, etc., etc. And it just was a really good opportunity just for me, just to grow as an artist. I learned so much from them, so much, and my breath was just taken away. It's just something where it's going to stick with me for life. So definitely check out the album. Once again, the name of the album is Eden, and is out right now.
And other things that are important to you is just giving back to the community. That's kind of a big deal for you. Talk about that real quick as we roll into talking about your music and what's going on behind you there.
So giving back to the community is something that's super, super important to me. It's something that my mom and just my parents in general have instilled in me ever since I was a kid. Things, whether it be going to youth organizations and programs. We have something that was called the annual Holiday Cheer Tour, where we went all across the Midwest, and initially it was across the U.S. And we were going to hospitals, and we were going to orphanages and things like that, just to bring some holiday cheer to people that are less fortunate than I. And what better way to bring holiday cheer than through music? Also, we have a podcast. The name of the podcast is called Beyond the Music, and that's an opportunity where we talk about things that are in the premise of music, but at the same time, we can go beyond that. We can go into topics that typically I wouldn't probably address on my day-to-day, but it also gives my fans an opportunity to probably pose questions to me, and for us to just really get a dialogue going.
For people who want to follow you and find out what you're doing, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can follow me at Matt B World. That's MATTB World. And once you step into my world, believe me, you do not want to leave.
Speaking of, what do you got going on behind you here? Because I did crash a recording session of something. So why don't you just explain real quick what's happening here?
So what's going on right here, this was a performance that I did for Telefunken, the microphone brand. Super dope, super amazing. This particular track is called I Spoiled You, which is off of my debut U.S. album.
Let's hear a little bit, yeah.
Hang up and call me again just to prove your point. You do the most when you mad, but you blame it on me. Yeah, you blame it on me. Yeah, ooh. But I should have been nippers in the bud, but I was lost in love. I was too deep, I was done. No more.
Matt B, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it letting me crash your party. I'll let you get back to work, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, well, you take care.
You too.
Hang up and call me again just to prove your point. You do the most when you mad, but you blame it on me. Yeah, you blame it on me. Yeah, ooh. But I should have been nippers in the was lost in love. I was too deep, I was stuck. No more, yeah, no more. Ooh, baby, I spoke to maybe. I answered your request daily, like I left the milk out too long. You gone back by the time I got home. Baby, I spoke to. Baby, I spoke to. Yeah. Baby, I spoke to. Now I'm wishing the days of you was new. Baby, I spoke to. Yeah. Baby, I spoke to. Baby, I spoke to.
Always got to love a behind-the-scenes look at how things get done. That's Chicago's Matt B, TBARNAS at WGNTV.com. That's TBarness at WGNTV.com if you have a suggestion for the Chicago scene. Until then, I'll see you later.